Ooh la. Ooh la.
You would make a terrible medical droid.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for the Acts of Geekery podcast, episode 7, the Abrams reboot.
Yes, we could have J.J. Abrams be our podcast reboot. I'd be okay with that.
He could probably turn this into an amazing podcast.
At least with a very giant monster somewhere in it.
Yep. I'm Cory.
And I'm Scott.
And we're the Brothers Geek, here to bring you all the geeky things in the world of geekdom.
Even though it's kind of slow this week.
Yeah, we thought
it's a slow geek week.
Slow geek week. We thought that before Comic-Con was kind of slow, but we managed to pull out a lot of stuff from before, but
surprisingly a lot.
I guess we just hit that stage where everybody's just like exhausted.
They're geek overloaded.
Yeah.
Their geek meter has been overloaded, been pegged.
Yeah, you kind of have to let your geek meter recharge every now and then. But we do have some news. Yep. And the first little bit of news that I would like to bring to you is the fact that I, Cory Avis, win a geek card from Scott because Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice moved.
Fine, I'll give you a geek card.
All right.
Put it on my wallet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. Well, we knew one of them was going to win and one of them was going to lose. And I kept saying, Captain America, I'm sorry, even though he's more obscure than Batman v Superman.
And I don't recall ever saying, oh, Marvel will move. I just said, we'll see. I don't know.
I think we did bet on it. I bet if we go back through the archives.
We probably did bet on it. Are you kidding me? I don't listen to our old episodes.
If you don't, who will?
That's true. We need that extra view count, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That download.
But after Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I think Warner Brothers went, okay, maybe we shouldn't be messing with Marvel here. Let's back off a bit.
You mean after they changed their pants because they went, oh, such a good movie.
Yeah.
Crap.
We'll get to that later, Scott.
Spoiler, it's such a good movie.
Oh, no. You just ruined it. Now they don't have to listen to the podcast.
That's our whole review. It's a really good movie.
Really
Next.
Good movie. They moved it to March 26th, though.
That's an interesting date.
Very odd.
Because
we know February is the month where movies go to die.
Yes.
But March is really, it's the end of March, early April, which, Captain America came out April, the first week in April?
It was first or second week, yeah.
And it did pretty well.
I even thought that was weird as well, because how many April movies do you see? Usually you wait until May, June, July, and sometimes August, and that's where your big blockbusters are, and then you don't get any until December.
Yeah. It's just weird. So we're going to see how,
it'll work.
I'm
sure it'll work.
They're like, we have Batman and Superman in the title. Yeah, we can put that movie anywhere and have it work out good.
Yeah, March is just starting to come out of winter here, springtime starting to slowly roll in, so maybe people will get out and go see a movie.
Yeah. If they put it in February, they could probably market it as a romantic movie and be okay with it. So
Batman v Superman, the V is for Valentine's.
Hey, Superman, I know we don't always agree, but I got you this box of chocolates.
But dang it, man, I love ya.
This sounds like a better movie.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
No. And then Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman's in the background going, hey, guys, what about me? And they're they both turn to her at the same time. Bro love, get over it.
And then they pound fist.
Yep. Fist bump.
I'm sorry, this does sound like a really great movie. That is, I think, what we're missing in the superhero department is a huge comedy movie, one that just makes fun of the superhero genre. We have it in comics. We have The Boys, which kind of makes fun of how ridiculous superheroes are. And we have these other little side stories that are just we're D-list superheroes but we're going to act totally crazy.
What about that movie that came out with Ben Stiller as the bowler or not the bowler?
Mystery Men?
Yeah, Mystery Men. That was kind of a jab to him.
I think if Marvel or DC came out with a movie like that with a completely ridiculous character and made a comedy out of it, like a full-on comedy, it would be a hit.
It'd be a Deadpool movie.
I wasn't going to say that right out, but yes, we need that Deadpool movie.
Yep. And after seeing the footage for that got leaked,
Yes.
I'm totally on board with it.
Yes.
Rated R or not, doesn't matter. I'm going to go see it.
Mm-hmm. I hope it's rated R. I'm sorry, you can't have a Deadpool unless he's rated R.
You're right. You're right. You can't really get away with it without that.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator.
Is he going to play Deadpool? Because that would just be weird.
That would be pretty funny. No, he tweeted a picture that shows him looking away from the camera, and he's sitting in one of those director's chair, and it says the movie for the next Terminator movie on it, the title for it.
Genesis.
With
a Y.
Yep. You spelling bee nuts are going to hate looking at this picture because it literally just says Terminator Genesis, and Genesis is misspelled.
I didn't know robots could age, but apparently they'll pull it off somehow.
Well,
we built a new robot to blend in. He's really old.
We could only find an old person to act for the skin, though, so it's weird. It's kind of bad.
His artificial intelligence always walks around and goes, "Oh, my back, my hip hurts.
Where's my maid?
Oh, I need my walker."
This is not a good Arnold impersonation.
I'm not trying to be an Arnold impersonation. I'm just
Where's
trying
my
to be.
walker?
Where's my walker? I can't do it at
No,
all.
you kind of sounded.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't really know what that was.
I had an Arnold stuck in my throat.
So many jokes that I can't say. So we're just gonna move on.
Just say them later.
Yes.
Just get them out of your
Yeah.
system afterwards.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk a little bit about my favorite video game. The wonderful, amazingly talented World of Warcraft. So if you don't like World of Warcraft, you might want to skip ahead just a little bit here. But we're going to talk about a little bit that came out from them. First of all, they said that they're going to reveal the new cinematic and the release date for their next expansion coming out next Thursday. So we'll have to watch it before we start the podcast so you guys can get it right, or our opinion of it, like the day you see it.
I heard it was they're on their 10th year now. They
Yes.
started in was it 04?
Yep, they started in 2004.
I remember. I played it back then.
Yeah.
I started 04 and
I have
played for
played
quite a
for
while.
10 years. I calculated how much money I've spent on a monthly subscription minus all of the free months that I've gotten, and it's still like $1,385 for my 10 years of service.
It's a whole new computer right there.
Exactly. And I haven't regretted a penny of it because they keep coming out with fresh content with it.
Yeah, and that to me is the mark of a decent game is
Mm-hmm.
something that you're willing to pay for without it, hurting you.
By the way, that does not include the money that I've spent on the actual expansions or the actual game. It doesn't include the in-game mounts that I've bought or the in-game pets that I've bought.
or character transfers
Yeah.
or
Name
renames
changes.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all of that, I'm probably near the
We'll say 1,600.
I'd say $1,600 to $1,800 range. So for those of you who think that I'm not a big enough geek about World of Warcraft, there you go. I am.
I don't think anyone thought that about you ever.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
That was
I
not
gotta-
even a question
I
in my
gotta
mind.
keep my geek cred up. I have to go like behind some Star Wars geek when he makes a mistake and just geek shiv him, so that I can that everybody knows that I'm the greatest.
and then you can
geek.
yell, "Rogues do it from behind!" and run away.
Yes.
Right? In WoW fashion.
Yes. But they are having their 10th anniversary this November, and they're planning on doing like a whole month-long celebration.
Are they going to give everyone like free mounts and all this crazy, $1 million gold each?
I
for
wish.
being,
Holy
10
crap, $1 million
years?
gold each.
It wouldn't cost them anything. It's just ones and zeros for
Yeah.
them.
But do you know how much that would like bloat the auction house and everything?
That's fine. It's just inflation.
No, what they're going to do is when you log in, you get a brand new pet, and it's basically a corgi, a 3D corgi, but it's a molten corgi. So it's a corgi made out of lava.
So it won't be endangered in WoW.
Nope.
Just in real life.
Yep. So you can
Okay.
actually make a corgi conga line now. It's going to be great.
A Korga line?
Corga line?
Korga line?
They are bringing back one of their classic raids that everybody can do as a 40-man raid at max level, the Molten Core.
Ooh, the one I missed.
Yeah.
That was the big one
Like the
back in
big
Vanilla WoW.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be able to go in, and it's not going to be you and 40 of your friends unless you can gather up 39 other people. But you get to go in their raid finder thing, and you get matched up with a bunch of other people, and you go and you do these bosses. And if you beat the end boss at the end, you get a Corehound mount.
You mean if you beat Ragnaros?
Yes, if you beat Ragnaros. I'm not sure if people on here, like if you're still listening and you haven't played WoW, I apologize. I'm going to try and keep it as generic as possible so you guys can know.
If you beat Ragnarok.
If you can defeat Ragnarok, Thor will thank you.
Thor will thank you. With mead and wenches.
Ooh.
Because that's what and a chariot with goats that pull it.
Yes, sounds good. So I'll show you really quick here if I can get it to pull up. There's the Corehound mount that you can get.
Oh, and I like it. I like it.
You get to control
big,
it from back there.
Big lava, half rhinoceros, half giant dog, Cerberus type thing.
Yep,
with,
it's got 2 heads and
with a saddle on it.
Yep, and then there's the molten corgi.
I want one in real life.
It looks adorable. We're gonna have to post
even if
this
it
up
burned
on
the house, even if it burned the house down, I'd still be like totally worth it.
Hey, roll over, stop, drop, and roll.
Now hold still while I go grab my fire extinguisher.
And then the last thing that they're doing is they're introducing a new battleground for a limited time that takes you back to the early days of WoW again with the battle of Taran Mill versus South Shore.
Oh man. That
Now,
brings back memories.
For those of you who don't play WoW, back in the day, there was no PvP areas. You just got to go, you had to go find somebody who you could fight on the other faction, and you fought them. Well, that would often take place in this zone called the Hillsbrad Foothills, where the Alliance side had a town called South Shore, and the Horde side had a town called Taran Mill. Well, 3 or 4 Alliance would run up and start attacking, and some Horde would respond and start pushing them back. And eventually it got to the point where there were hundreds of people on either side.
Yeah, crashing servers with
pushing back and forth. So it's basically going to be the same thing. You run up and you kill a bunch of people and hope you don't die.
I like that because
Yeah.
I remember playing that for hours on end, fighting back and forth.
And there was no point to it, but still.
Yeah, because there's no rewards or anything, but it was just fun.
You got to play and you got to have fun with it. So for those of you who have played WoW and maybe gotten out of it because you missed the old days, this might be an okay time for you to come back. And there's a lot of rewards.
It's a trap.
Out there. It's a trap. There's a lot of rewards out there for coming back to play. If you get somebody to give you like a scroll of resurrection, you get a free level 85. You get to gear up a character right away. It really makes it easier. And if you do end up liking it and you want to come back for good, you can actually purchase the new expansion online and get a free level 90 boost right now. So you can be max level right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything they can to bring new players in.
Yeah. So not that I'm like advocating, wow, I'm not like working for Blizzard.
It's fun. I'm going to totally admit it's fun.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but it's a fun game.
Yep.
And it's enjoyable.
All right, Scott. You like the Daredevil there?
I like the character Daredevil.
You like the fact that they're making a Netflix series?
I love the fact that they're making a Netflix series.
Well, they just released some pictures of the actor who's playing Daredevil, who I believe is in... I can't even remember his name. But they showed him as Matt Murdock. So you get to see him with the cane and...
Okay, yeah.
His rose-colored glasses, which I really like on him. I like the rose-colored glasses. And then you get to see one with him without it on, and he's just looking at the camera now. But I think they do pretty good. I think that's kind of
I think the comment for that picture was the best. His junk showing. Good job, man.
And
Good
the
job.
second one, he got stank
face because his junk showing.
Yep. So, I mean, we're seeing a real trend of, hey, maybe the comic books are okay to copy because it's not, let's gussy up a character to make him look modern or
there's
anything.
years of stories in these comic books, and you can take one single issue and make an entire episode out of it. I mean, there is enough.
You can make multiple episodes out of it. Some issues.
There's enough content in the issue itself and in the like in between panels where there isn't anything, like Batman, moving from place to place, and all of a sudden he appears in a warehouse and he sees a bunch of thugs, and then the next panel they're all knocked down because they're trying to fit everything they can into
that's a 10-minute fight scene
into 20 pages. Yeah, it's exactly. It can be
by the way,
a whole bunch of stuff.
If it were Batman, it would be him smirking and then knocking out the light, and then a bunch of like one panel of black and just a bunch of biff bam poof poof
Zort.
Yeah, and then the lights would come back, like the light would come back on, and they'd all be knocked out. Yep.
And he would be yelling at someone, "Where are they?"
Because that's what Batman does.
He always just asks questions and yells them. Where's my dry cleaning?
Alfred, where's dinner?
Yep. Agree with that.
So yeah, but I mean, we saw with Constantine. Constantine looks pretty much like he does in the comics.
Yeah, and acts pretty much like him. He's just a blood. What do they call him? A bloody right prick or whatever.
Yeah, and it looks like they're kind of going the same direction. So I'm hopeful that we're getting a good.
We'll have to
Daredevil.
see if they leak out him in his costume next.
Yeah, that's
not just Matt Murdock costume.
I don't want him leaking out of his costume at all, though.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be a bad idea. Yeah. He's Mr. Amorphous Blob. He's leaking out of his own
Mr.
costume.
Amorphous. If you guys have not seen Girl Power, I mean, I know it was my pick of the week like 2 weeks ago, but seriously, go check out that webcomic. You'll love it.
Girl Power.
Girl Power.
Because there's no I in that.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do I have here? There's more news. Oh.
News, you say?
Absolutely. So we told you about, like, on our first podcast.
Yeah. First one.
The leak that happened with DC's movies coming out.
Speaking of leaks, there was this leak.
Yes, there's a leak in the boat. But now DC has come out, or Warner Brothers has come out and said, "Here's our movies."
So
here's our movies.
We have to retcon what we said, because officially we don't know anything past March 25th. Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Oh, we said 26th earlier, so I wanted to, we'll have to retcon that. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah, March 25th.
The grand retcon.
But from our first episode, we told you about, like, Wonder Woman and, Shazam and all these different ones.
Those movies might still be coming.
Sure, but as far as officially, we don't know.
Yeah.
That was a leak, but it could have been just something someone made up.
So it looks like they've got films coming out August 5th, 2016. A couple in 2017, 3 in 2018, and then again 2 in 2019, and then 2020 they have 3 coming out.
Yeah, so they're already set up for the next 5 or 6 years.
Yep. Which, not as impressive as Marvel, who says that they have movies out to 2028. But we'll see if they can keep up the steam that's going on.
Yeah. But this is still actually pretty impressive. For a company that shies away from pretty much every type of superhero movie ever,
unless it's done by Chris Nolan.
Yeah, them releasing this is actually very, very surprising and pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool. There's a couple of them that instead of saying untitled, these all say untitled DC film, except for 2. They say untitled WB event film.
Ooh.
Event could be including the whole universe, like a Justice League, or maybe Crisis on Infinite Earths or something like that.
I think the first one you're going to get is something like a Dark Side movie, and then you've got your first block, which leads up to November 2018, and that's their first WB event. I think you got a Dark Side movie there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You've got Dawn of Justice, which introduces the big 3, and then you've got all these other movies that can go through these characters, and then they all come together to fight Darkseid. And then you have the second block of movies, and then you have the second WB event. I think we're going to see a little bit more in play with alternate realities in the second block leading up to a Crisis.
Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earth, or something with Earth 2, perhaps, or even Earth 3 with the...
I don't care about Earth 3, but if they did Earth 2, I would, flip my lid. Oh.
And then you would drink out of the cup that you just flip the lid off of?
Yep, I'd be like, psh, I have to drink this.
You do care about Earth 3, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I do.
That is the...
But not compared to Earth 2.
That's the bad Justice League, the evil Justice League.
Yeah. Did you notice really quick, like
The Justice, what do they call that?
Crime Syndicate.
The Crime Syndicate.
Yeah.
That's right.
Huge aside right here, but your shirt matches your microphone cover in color, and mine almost does.
Almost does. Not planned.
My pants do.
I don't want to see
I have
your
Green
pants.
Lantern pants on. Just so you know,
so they're
like,
they're
again,
not there. They're
my
made out of
geek
light.
cred is intact. Yes.
They're made out of light.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
oh man. Oh,
Your pants are bright, dude.
don't turn off the lights around you.
All right, so I mean that's really cool. We got both Marvel and DC saying, "Hey, we've got stuff up to the end of the decade, and here's what we have planned." I haven't checked to see if any of these other ones coincide with another Marvel movie or not, but I bet if they do, they're going to change them.
So this Nikki Fink or Finkay, I'm not sure how to say her last name.
Come on the show. And we'll you tell us how to say your name.
According to her, we can expect to see Batman v Superman, Justice League, Shazam, Sandman, Wonder Woman, Flash and Green Lantern, Man of Steel 2, Metal Men, and Suicide Squad. Those last two
Are exciting.
very exciting. However, super obscure. Metal Men.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're not a hardcore DC fan,
You have
don't
no
have any
idea.
clue who the Metal Men are.
by the way, Nikki Fink is a guy, Mr. Fink.
Okay, Mr. Finkay.
Yeah.
Whatever, according to him.
So let's see. So they've got the kind of the one we talked about, the list we talk about on this website too. And it looks like a lot of things have kind of changed, but that could just be schedules changing because they have to move Batman v Superman and everything like that.
I think WB is doing everything they can to stay relevant due to the success of Marvel in the past.
Yep.
And the latest movie, Guardians of the Galaxy.
And let's face it, in the future too.
And in the future, they are
A juggernaut.
as their character that they
Yes.
created. They are the Juggernaut.
Yes.
Right now they can't be stopped. So far, everything they've come out is pretty much gold, and is doing fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only things that probably wouldn't be considered super successes are Iron Man 2 wasn't as well received. A lot of people didn't like Iron Man 3 as well, but it still did bank at the box office.
Yeah.
And Thor 2 was a little bit underwhelmed. I mean, I enjoyed it. I loved Star Thors.
Star Thors.
Yes.
That's a good name for it.
Yes.
I like it.
So, keep that in mind as we're going forward. There's a lot of superhero stuff coming. For those of you who think, oh, they're focusing too much on comic books, I want to hear something else. Well, tell us what you want to hear about, first of all. And second of all,
And we may get to it
Yeah.
eventually, when
Eventually.
we feel like it. Possibly.
you don't own us.
Whatever. I'll do what I want.
But I mean, the big news is all coming out of Warner Brothers and Disney.
Good.
Marvel.
It's about time, WB. It's about time to kick it up a notch and compete, or try
Bam.
to at least. Bam.
All right, let's move on into trailers because that is. Oh, nope, never mind. Scratch that. What do we do every week before we do trailers?
We talk about Salt Lake Comic Con and the guests coming out.
Yep.
It's close.
Like,
It's less than a month away.
yep, I'm getting my costume ready.
If
For
you
those of
guys-
you who are wondering, I am going to be the Penguin.
Ah, nice. Are you gonna have a prosthetic nose too?
I was thinking about it, but probably not. I am going to have a monocle, so I do have to get contacts.
Oh, you've never done that before, huh?
No, I have. I've had contacts before.
Oh, you just hated him.
Yeah, they didn't really work for my eyes, so
You're gonna hate him at Comic Con too.
I'll endure them for the day that I'm wearing the costume. My wife is going as Catwoman, and Cassandra Cain is the Black Bat.
At the same time, half Catwoman, half Black Bat.
Two-Face.
Interesting.
No, she's going as one day, and the other the next. So she's super excited. I've been getting emails from eBay of accessories that she's been buying up. I think today she bought a fake diamond encrusted whip for her Catwoman costume,
Yeah, that
like
fits.
a rhinestone
that fits with
encrusted
it.
whip. So it's
Any of
coming along.
you out there that are planning on cosplaying, get it done ASAP.
Yeah.
And if you can't make it, I suggest spending the next year planning your costume and
Yeah.
getting it together, losing weight or gaining it, depending on what you need for your costume.
Next year I'm going to be the Blob.
You got a whole year to gain a lot of weight. And if you haven't picked up your tickets, get them.
Yeah.
Get them now.
Because they go up in price.
Yeah, the closer it gets, the more they start going up in price.
You might not be able to get them anymore. I don't know. I mean,
schedule time off work.
Yeah.
I think they still have some available.
Okay.
Yep.
And if you do go to Comic-Con, try and find us. Come say hi. We'd love to hear
We'll be
from
handing
you.
out our geek cards.
Yep. Which that's one other thing that we need to get before the month is out.
That's true.
We need to get those ready because you guys think we're just gonna be like, oh, we're just handing out geek cards, just a ha joke. No, we actually are gonna make geek cards and hand them out.
Yes, they'll have rules and everything on how to play the geek card game.
Totally arbitrary rules, but it's gonna be great. So first of all, they add a lot of authors and writers, authors and artists. Not just from comic books, but actual novellas and such. So but I'm not going to cover them here unless there's a famous one that I know about. So go check out their page.
SaltLakeComicCon.com.
Yep. And look up their artists and their authors. They added an actor, Craig Parker. He's been in Spartacus. He's been in Legend of the Seeker. But I mostly know him as Haldir from the Lord of the Rings movies, The Fellowship and The Two Towers.
And which one is Haldir?
He's the one who comes in...
Is he the one that goes Haldir? Haldir.
No, that's Hodor, and that's Game of Thrones. No, Haldir is the one who comes in The Two Towers with all the elves and says, there once stood an alliance of elves and men, and so it shall be again, and then he gets... Well, spoiler alert, he gets killed at the Battle of Helm's Deep. So
a lot of people get killed in that battle.
Yeah, only one main character though, or one named NPC.
I don't know, he was a B list.
Yeah,
maybe C. Actually, C
no,
list.
I mean, let's not look at it in comic books. Let's look at it as a D&D adventure. He's basically an NPC, a named NPC who got killed, and
or progression of the story.
Yeah,
that's all he's there for.
And the player characters probably went, oh man, and then moved on.
Yep.
You know what?
Oh man, who was that guy again? I don't know. I don't remember.
Chances are, the player who played Boromir died in the Fellowship and was like, you know what? I gotta go on vacation. And then he comes back in Two Towers and he's like, hey guys, I made this great new character. He's an elf ranger. He's gonna be awesome. And then he gets killed in the first battle he's in, and he's like, screw this.
He just rage quits.
He flips the table.
He picks up his dice very carefully because you don't want to lose them.
Oh yeah, you don't.
But then he just stomps out of the room.
We need to do a D&D episode, by the way. Put that on the topic list of talking about
D&D. Yeah. Sounds good.
Because I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, I'm kind of play it occasionally. Occasionally every Saturday.
Every Saturday. Well, every Saturday we can.
Yeah.
Anyway, they added another actress. I guess Craig Parker isn't an actress, but elves, they're interchangeable.
They're
can't tell.
Androgynous. Yeah.
This lady's name is Eve Miles, and she is Gwen Cooper from Torchwood.
Okay, I've watched a little bit of Torchwood, and so I know who you're talking about. Yeah. She's one of the main three. You've got her, and you've got Jack Harkness,
which is also coming to Comic-Con. He's also coming to Comic-Con.
Yes, which is also cool.
Which you may also know him as Merlin from the Arrow TV show.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Maybe we'll get a panel out of them. I know for a fact that our good author friend Craig Nybo is going to Comic-Con. They just haven't announced him yet. But he posted something about him and a bunch of other people who are going to do a rehearsal for a panel that they're doing for Comic-Con.
Yeah, he was at the fan experience a couple months back.
I have a book of his that I'm going to read and review on the podcast as soon as I get around to it. So be on the lookout for that little nugget. Ryan Otley's coming. He's one of the artists that I actually do know.
Me too.
He's done Invincible, and he did a lot of artwork for The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So if you're a Walking Dead comic fan, or if you're a Walking Dead fan, go shake hands with the guy who drew it.
Because you wouldn't have the Walking Dead TV show without the Walking Dead comic book, and you wouldn't have the Walking Dead comic book without Ryan Otley. So there you go. If you like the TV show, you have to like Ryan Otley. Sorry, it's true.
Well, you don't necessarily have to like it.
You do. Otherwise, you don't get it.
I like what you do. I just don't like who you are.
There's nothing good about who you are or what you do.
And then the last one of any note that I saw, his name is Johnny Jan Bosch, and he's just been a Black Power Ranger. Every Comic-Con that I've seen adds about 2 or 3 Power Rangers
from
the 30 series,
dozens of seasons of it.
But I think he's been. I think he's one of the ones who's been to Comic-Con before. He's not like the black guy, Black Ranger. He's the Chinese Black Power Ranger from one of the later series.
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah, if you like Power Rangers,
yeah, exactly. If you like Power Rangers,
they are actually making a new Power Rangers movie, like a full-on reimagining, darker, more adult version of the Power Rangers.
Is it the Secret of the Ooze? Because there's ooze in Power Rangers as well.
And there is like that weird goopy
teenage non-mutant ninja Rangers. The Secret of the Ooze.
Oh my gosh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles totally got their idea stolen from Power Rangers.
Or the other way around, yeah.
I think Teenage Mutant Ninja
Probably
Turtles was first. So
yeah.
They just made them, they're kids. They're not mutants or teenage or, well, they are teenage, but they're not turtles.
They're young adult. They're not teenagers. Young adult.
Mutant ninja.
No, young adult non-mutant ninjas.
We should totally make one called Young Adult Inhuman Samurai Tortoises.
Hares. That's the opposite of a turtle.
Would be the opposite of the turtle is the hare. Right? That
rabbits.
totally makes
Just
sense.
Rabbits.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into trailers, Scott. What kind of trailers do we have this week?
This week we had a new teaser trailer from the Flash TV show.
We watched it, and I didn't really care for it.
It was like 14 seconds of...
it was gone in a flash.
Yeah, it was really fast. Go figure, everything on that show will go really fast. But it wasn't super impressive. It was just it's probably just a short TV spot between regular commercials.
I think the problem that I had with it is we've seen it already, because it's not like
the pilot.
Yeah, it's not like we can't. It's like, I saw that scene. I saw that scene. I saw that scene. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. But if you haven't seen it yet, you'll probably still be excited, and every little bit of Flash is gonna, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm still excited for it. I mean, the trailer didn't decrease my excitement.
So we had another movie got announced. It's called Left Behind. It's starring Nicolas Cage and a rash of others that I have no clue who they are.
But it doesn't matter because Nicolas Cage is in it.
Yeah.
Wait, that's kind of my Keanu Reeves.
It's a rapture movie where they're flying a plane and all of a sudden out of nowhere, half the plane is gone.
Yep. Including the pilots.
And all their clothes were left there. Did you notice that too?
I did not notice that all the clothes were left there.
So they all got raptured and they were all naked.
Creepy.
Maybe they're wearing robe.
That kind of sounds more like alien abduction than God.
They're wearing cloud robes.
Cloud robes. Clothes. I watched this trailer and
it started out great. Yeah. Actually, the first 30, 45 seconds of it, I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. All of a sudden he's like, everyone's gone. Most of the people on this plane just disappeared. The pilots are gone. He has to try to land the plane on his own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be exciting. And then all of a sudden it starts going kind of religious on it, and it looks interesting.
Yeah.
I can't say I'd go see it in the theaters, but I might rent it from Redbox or something.
I honestly, once I saw the graphics that they were using on the airplane, I kind of went, you know what? I really don't want to see this.
It's like low budget TV graphics.
It looks like Sharknado graphics. Like it literally looks like Sharknado level graphics. So,
yeah, I mean, it might be one of those, like, I'm really bored. What's at Redbox? This just came out. Okay, let's go watch it. But, if you're into that kind of movie, I don't know. Go, take a crack at it, I guess. Go watch it. Tell us what you think. Whether or not you liked it or thought it was interesting. Like I said, the first, 30 seconds, I was like, ooh, this, what? Yeah, it's got crazy Nicolas Cage, but come on. It's got all kinds of cool stuff in it.
So, as an aside, my boss watched Enter's Game over the weekend.
Finally.
Yeah, and I asked him how he liked it, and he goes, he hated it. because
if Corey's boss is watching, you have or listening, you have some of the strangest opinions on movies that I've ever heard. Go on.
I think he's just got a different opinion than you. Like, I don't think he's listening, but he might be listening. So,
Maybe
probably
he's trying
don't
to keep
talk
tabs
bad
on
about
you.
my boss.
He's trying to keep tabs on you.
Yeah. But I think his main gripe with, well, first of all, he said he fell asleep twice during it. So that's not a good sign when you're watching a movie.
But was that because the movie was boring to him, or was it
I
because
think
he was tired?
I think it was the movie was
Hey,
boring to
Corey's
him.
boss, you're like an old man. I'm gonna just keep saying stuff.
Would you stop? I know at least one coworker listens to this.
And he or she will laugh.
You probably don't,
And if they're not laughing, what's wrong with you?
No, she would laugh. But he said that his biggest problem with it, and this is my biggest problem with the movie too, though not to the degree that he had it.
Was it the weird-faced reptile-looking kid that gets his nose hit by Ender?
Which, by the way, he's from Hannah, Montana. He's a Hannah, Montana kid.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yep. But it's just the kid actors. He didn't like the kid actors, and neither did I. I mean, I've never liked kid actors. I think they're the stupidest, most inefficient actors ever. You'd be better just to CG a kid and give him Tom Cruise's voice.
They tried that in the Polar Express, and it was weird.
I like the Polar Express.
I thought it was weird.
Well, I liked it.
And the one where Jim Carrey, Ebenezer Scrooge. That one's.
I like that one too. Like this.
I'm naming all these movies.
Like,
I'm like, this is weird. This is weird.
I love it.
Wait, you know what? I take that back. Maybe I'm the one with the strange opinions.
You're that boss. You're okay.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, thanks. Let's move on to our next trailer before I get in more trouble.
By the end of this podcast, I will have you fired. That is my goal.
How is that possible?
That's going to be our title. Corey gets fired.
Corey gets fired
from the podcast.
I have some potential titles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've got a game trailer.
Ooh, I like games.
Do you like Assassin's Creed?
I am a fan of the first Assassin's Creed.
That's the only one you've really played?
No, I've played more. I just think that the first one's the best.
That's because it was the most original.
Yeah, I think the others are kind of just playing off the same mechanics for.
Well, anyways,
so
you've got Assassin's Creed Unity coming out, and that was a pretty cool trailer. We covered that a couple episodes back.
I like that.
There's another Assassin's Creed game coming out at the same exact time.
What?
Yes, it's called Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Rouge?
Rouge.
Assassin's Creed Rouge.
Assassin's Creed Moulin Rogue.
Moulin Rogue might be the title of this episode.
Yes. But it is showing, it kind of shows a lone assassin, and he kind of talks about how he goes down his own path and he doesn't follow the Brotherhood and stuff. Seems interesting. Kind of out of left field, too. Here you've got this trailer being replayed over and over and over again for Unity, about how they helped the French Revolution and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you've got this lone wolf assassin game.
That's killing other assassins.
Yeah. Super strange.
And super Irish, by the way.
Yeah.
He's probably just drunk.
He's very...
That's racist. I'm racist again. If I don't get fired because of you, it's going to be because of my blatant racism.
Because of your racism? But not from the podcast, just in general?
Yeah.
Just all the time at work?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I'm super racist at work.
So if you like the Assassin's Creed genre, the games themselves, check it out. It was pretty cool. Yeah. I was kind of interested. At first I didn't know what was going on, but then
it's a nice announcement trailer. That's for sure. He kills an assassin who thinks he's a friend and everything.
And it's kind of a polar opposite of Unity.
Yeah. Which is probably why they're bringing it out. They're like, oh, you can be with a group of people or on your own. Which one would you go for? Like, if you could only pick Unity or Rogue at this point, even not knowing hardly anything.
I would probably go with Rogue.
I'd probably go with Unity.
I would have to hunt you down and kill you in the game then.
I think the trailer for Unity looks really cool.
It was.
And I think that the idea that you can play with friends is actually a lot better because, there's plenty of times where I'd be watching my wife play and I'd be like, I wish I could play too so I can show her where to go.
Yeah.
It's not over here, honey. It's over here.
That's the only reason?
Yes.
It has nothing to do with gameplay. Just so
I don't care about the gameplay.
Just reach over her shoulder while you're sitting next to her and grab the joystick and just turn.
You don't touch somebody's controller.
No, while they're gaming.
You get like growls.
So, like violating the first law of gaming, thou shalt not touch another gamer's controller.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
So that's pretty cool. You can check that out. Another trailer that came out was the international trailer for Birdman.
Now, I've heard a bit about this and we watched the trailer, but can you explain to me exactly what Birdman is?
So, Birdman is a comic book superhero.
I've never heard of him.
Not one from the real world.
Oh, okay.
One
that's why I haven't heard
in
of
a
him.
TV movie.
Okay.
Starring Michael Keaton in it.
Batman.
And as Birdman.
Which is kind of a parallel on what Michael Keaton has become.
But it's not a superhero movie.
Okay.
It is a it's hard to explain. It's a movie looking at the actor's life that plays a superhero.
Okay, like
so
after he played the superhero?
Yeah, it'd be like if someone made a Iron Man movie, but it didn't actually start Iron Man. It was all about Robert Downey Jr.'s life and after Iron Man.
Oh, like how he tries and deals with...
How he copes with it and what he does. And
now, this is a problem that faces a lot of... Oh, my gosh, I can't believe I'm about to say this. This is a problem that faces a lot of celebrities, where they get typecast into a role and they have to deal with it, and they all go through this phase of
I'm a millionaire and
first world problems.
Exactly.
But like William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy were this way for a while, where they
still are.
They hate. Well, yeah, William Shatner is. I think Leonard Nimoy's embraced it a bit more.
Yeah.
And that's what happens as they get older. They realize, oh, people love me for this. I've inspired people with this, and they decide,
I can still make a lot of money off of this.
Yeah, exactly. So it happens with a lot. We might see it happen with Hugh Jackman and, like you said, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, so they get typecast, and this is kind of about that. He's trying to break out of that mold of being typecast from Birdman of 20 years ago in his past. And
it looks like he's schizophrenic, and his other ego is Birdman.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it looks. I think it looks pretty good. I want to see it.
It's an independent movie, isn't it?
Yes, and it's by some director that I cannot pronounce the name.
It's a Sundance movie.
I'm not trying to be racist or anything.
You literally can't pronounce it.
I'm not trying to pull a Cory.
You had a problem with things. That's gonna catch on now. You had a problem with the DC guy's name, so
yeah, I'm terrible with names.
Mr. Fanky or whatever.
Yeah, Finky.
Anyway,
so that one came out really good. It's got a little bit of strong language in it, so
your sweetheart's in it too. That's probably why you liked it a little bit more.
Yeah, Emma Stone stars in it as well. She's his daughter,
and she's kind of like sick of his crap.
Sick of his crap. Yep, it's got Edward Norton in it as well.
And I saw a scene of them rolling around in their underwear fighting. Michael Keaton and Edward Norton.
Yeah, they're in like a dressing room fighting each other, and they're like slapping each other, and Edward Norton's in his tighty-whitey. It's interesting, but I'll probably go see it. I don't know. Every time I see the trailer, I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that was coming out.
Yeah.
Watch that.
So look forward to that.
That's all the trailers I got for this week. There wasn't much. Like I said, slow week.
Did we see any new trailers before our movie that we saw Sunday? I can't remember any.
I am sorry, but the movie pretty much blocked out the entire day for me.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything before the movie or after the movie.
Now, I will say this. As we're getting into our review for Guardians of the Galaxy, we did see it in IMAX 3D, and they had you put on your glasses, and then they showed you one more trailer after you put on your glasses, and that was the Lord of the Rings Battle of the Five Armies.
No, it was the Hobbit.
Oh, sorry.
The Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies.
Here's your geek card back. Jesus. So, and I have to say, I might have to go see the Battle of the Five Armies in IMAX because that looked pretty dang cool.
The trailer was... So I'm not usually a fan of 3D.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm like anti 3D, but I'm a pretty big like,
It's just a gimmick.
it's pretty gimmicky.
There's nothing to say for or against it.
We went and saw the first Hobbit.
Yes.
The first Hobbit in 3D.
Mostly
it was pretty
because they had
9 minutes of Star Trek Into Darkness. Yeah, that was the whole reason for it. Just for that initial thing. And it was okay. It's kind of jarring. Personally, it gives me a little bit of a headache by the time I'm done.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of out of focus stuff on it to make it 3D.
I think I had that problem during the trailer for Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure if I want to see it in 3D.
That could be just the trailer where everything's got to be quick and cutty and everything, and you're trying to focus, but you really can't. But once we got into the movie, that went away from me because I got totally immersed in this. And anytime that you can get me to flinch or duck or anything coming at the screen, I consider you
successful.
Yeah, it's successful because you've sucked me in.
Yeah,
you've sucked me in so completely that I actually think I'm there and watching this knife come at me.
So the reason we went and saw it in 3D is because James Gunn stated that they're using a new technique for 3D that's not supposed to be as jarring and as disorienting to people. And I will have to say it completely worked. And I'm not just this is not just a placebo effect. I went in it really skeptical.
I didn't even know about that. I didn't even know that this was a new technique. I thought he was just saying that he was working very closely with the 3D to make sure it was good. So I went in with no expectation of a new technology, and I thought that it worked so much better than any other 3D movie I've ever seen.
There were many, many times in the movie where I didn't even remember it was in 3D.
Yeah.
And it just looked amazing. They're out in space a lot of times. There's a lot of space shots, a lot of big sprawling like planetary shots.
Yep.
Super cool.
The fight scenes were completely immersive. It's so glowing 5 out of 5 stars for IMAX. That's for sure.
Yeah.
With this
for
experience.
the 3D.
Yeah, for the 3D IMAX experience. And I think that's part of it is IMAX was the huge factor in making it beautiful. But let's get into the movie proper. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I know speak good and me run podcasts.
Hold on, let me introduce it. Guardians of the Galaxy! Is that good enough?
Yes. I am Groot.
Yes, we are Groots.
No, he doesn't say that.
That's right. He sucked only 3 letters.
Sucked only 3 words. Now, if a bunch of people, I want to get like a bunch of people chanting that at Comic-Con. Just, I am Groot. I am Groot. And see who joins in.
For, during the panel for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when they released the trailer for it.
Oh, yeah, because that's going to happen at Salt Lake Comic-Con.
Not Comic-Con. I'm talking next year.
Yeah.
Or the year after, or whenever it's coming out.
Yeah. So
where to even start? I mean,
oh my gosh,
this movie. I think I sat down and had a long think about it. A very long think about it.
Long thinking.
I've been thinking about it since Sunday, pretty much, nonstop.
Yeah,
that's how good of a movie it was.
And you have a good movie right there when you sit. And you weren't just sitting down thinking about the movie. You were trying to find things wrong with it on the way home. You were like, we have to review it for the podcast. What was some critique that we could give it? And we couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, I think we thought of one thing, and it's more just geek nitpicky stuff than anything else. Yeah. This is so hard to review because, like you said, there was so much good about it and very little, if any, wrong about it or bad about it.
So let's start off. We'll try and just break it down into the sections and see how we do. Let's start off with casting. Good guys. Who did good? Who did bad?
Okay. So you've got Chris Pratt, plays Star-Lord.
Excellent choice.
A fantastic choice.
Yep.
He's witty. He's smarmy.
Although I've seen people who are comparing this movie to the Lego movie just because Chris Pratt is in both of them.
Okay.
And saying that here is why they are exactly the same.
Well, I mean, sure, you can kind of draw a parallel between anything if you really try.
It's an unlikely hero who finds a powerful object that has to use it to save the universe.
But the backstory, the difference is in Lego movie, He plays a character that's done nothing his entire life.
Yeah.
In Guardians of the Galaxy, he's a mercenary, he's a smuggler.
A womanizer?
Yeah, he's a womanizer, you know.
Oh, I totally forgot you were there. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like, we'll probably be quoting throughout, and you'll just have to go see it, and you'll hear it, and you go, haha, Axe said that.
Yeah. I think he did a great job. And in my opinion, it jumped him from like a B-list actor to A-list overnight.
Yep, and he looked great too. Like,
he's all ripped. He's all ripped now.
Who remembers him from the dumpy Delivery Man days and Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, he was pretty dumpy.
Yeah, but he's like completely ripped now. Moving on, I think probably the weakest link in Guardians of the Galaxy is Zoe Saldana.
Yep, Gamora. She plays Gamora.
And honestly, that's hard for me to say because I want the female characters to do so well. Because I want more geek girls out there. I want them to have these role models. But honestly, she kind of just felt like a generic female character to me where, oh, my family was killed and I mean, it's cool that she's like this badass assassin trying to avenge him.
And even then, I didn't even really get that vibe. Yeah. I just got, she knew some karate and she was pretty decent at some of the stuff she did. But other than that, I had no feelings for her at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking romantically or anything. Yeah. I'm just talking, did I care about the character? And as of this point, no, not really.
She's kind of there to facilitate the plot, to be honest. She's kind of
because she's part of the team. Mm-hmm. She has been in the comics. She's one of my favorite characters in the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if it was just the bad writing. Maybe it's because of the particular plot they chose.
No, we're not saying she's a terrible choice.
No.
She does good in her acting. It's just, I think that the
character is kind of underwritten.
Honestly, you've got a lot of characters in there. Some of them have to drop off the radar a little bit. It happened with Avengers, I think, too, with maybe not Black Widow, but Hawkeye. Okay. Hawkeye kind of got rid out a little bit. Yeah. Moving on.
The next one I want to talk about is Drax.
The surprising one for me.
Very surprising.
Dave Bautista.
The pro wrestler.
Yeah.
He who would have thought that he could ever act?
Yeah. I mean, there's a precedent, sure. The Rock, whatever.
Even then, The Rock's kind of iffy on the acting.
Yeah, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad.
Yeah.
But Dave Bautista not only pulls out a stellar performance, one of my favorite performances in the entire piece, but he also pulls out this amazing vocabulary that you go, I can't believe that we get to see
a muscle-bound tough guy, but he's very intelligent, and he's very eloquent. Mm-hmm. Unlike us, he's very eloquent.
He's more eloquent than the podcast.
Guardian's good.
Guardians is well.
Guardians is very good.
Now we'll move into...
Well, I was just super surprised. In the comics, Drax is actually my least favorite character.
I hardly see anything from him in the comics.
You barely see him. He's kind of just the muscle.
Every now and then, when he comes up, it's usually to rip things apart or kill things.
He's just...
But honestly, his story about his family being killed by the villain in the piece, which we'll talk about later, is incredibly compelling. Like, I actually felt bad for him when he was talking about his family dying and how he wants to avenge them. And he's basically suicidal. He wants to either avenge them or die so he can be with them. Yeah. To the point where when he gets into fights with people, he does nothing but laugh the entire way through the fight. Yeah. Which is incredibly disturbing, by the way.
Very disturbing. I wouldn't want to fight him.
Yeah, I really wouldn't.
I mean, first of all, he's huge.
Yeah.
He's a monster. A monster of a man.
I was kind of hoping for a little bit more on him in the physical department, though. Because when he fights the bad guy the first time, he's drunk. Like, there's no doubt about it. Yeah. So I was thinking, like, oh, okay, this is their first matchup, and he's drunk. And then they're going to fight again. Well, and
he gets his butt handed to him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he gets handily defeated, no problem. And, yeah, I was kind of like...
Yeah. I was hoping that...
In the comics, Drax is a genetically modified and engineered being to fight Thanos. Yeah. I mean, that is his whole sole purpose in life, pretty much, is to fight Thanos. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, they don't touch on anything like that. He's just another alien from somewhere. And so you don't get to see that kind of just raw brute strength, that he has. He's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty strong, but he's not like super strong.
Yeah.
What I was hoping for is that when they got into the scrap at the final battle, he'd be like, "Oh, I've beat you already," and he's like, "Well, you beat me when I was drunk," or something like that. And then they have a little bit more of a tough time, or the villain has a little bit more of a tough time taking him down.
Yeah.
But that really wasn't the case at all. And
But
that's
then
kind of
again,
because
the villain was
powered up.
That's
true. He leveled up.
He did level up many times.
So let's talk about the probably the breakout star, I think, in my opinion, of the entire movie. And you think I'm going to say Rocket, but I'm going to say Groot. Played by Vin Diesel. I think that Groot is everybody's favorite character. I think you're going to see Groot everywhere. You're going to see vinyls with Groot's face, and underneath it says, "I am Groot." You got such a stellar performance out of somebody who just says 3 words and a bunch of roaring.
But he says those 3 words so good that you know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
And because it's all tone of voice. And, bravo. Bravo to Vin Diesel. Holy crap. I heard him in an interview, and I hate to say it, the guy doesn't sound very smart.
No.
He's kind of dumb sounding when he talks.
Vin Diesel, I still love you. You play Dungeons and Dragons. Come play with me.
Yes. No, it's fantastic. I think you're great. And when you're a great actor and stuff. But when he played Groot, fantastic.
And I think that every scene that made you stop and made you think about just like how benevolent of a character Groot is. He's not just the tough guy. He's not just the Hulk where he just runs around and smashes things. He grows a flower for a child.
He's kind of the moral compass of the group,
and
really.
He's just this caring, loving being that all he wants to do in life is make sure his friends are okay.
And make a little cash on the side.
I think that's mostly Rocket.
Yeah.
Which, let's go ahead and get into Rocket Raccoon, the other breakout star of the movie.
The one that everyone was probably like, so Groot is a much easier sell.
Oh, yeah.
To anyone, pretty much.
He's a big tree who can regenerate himself. In space, absolutely.
He's a tree alien.
Yeah.
No problem. But Rocket Raccoon is a raccoon that can walk on 2 legs and can talk and shoots guns. That, to me, is like the hardest sell of the whole movie. Nothing else in there.
The end credit scene was a little bit of
yeah, that was pretty bad, too.
Which we won't spoil that for you, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah, you should stay afterwards. And if you haven't learned that by now,
come on.
With Marvel, shame on you.
Shame
on you.
But no, I agree with you. Rocket is an extremely hard sell. But by the end of the movie, you're just like, yeah, Rocket's the best. He gets the best line in the movie, I think. Or some of the best lines.
Yeah.
The best line in the movie is "I am Groot." But
second best line
is like, "There ain't no thing like me except me." That's just a class.
I was actually I had a lot more feelings for Rocket than most other characters.
I think it's because he's an animal. So when he gets hurt, you're like, oh,
not that. Not when he gets like knocked around and stuff, but when he's talking. And he's talking, and he kind of reveals a little bit of his backstory,
and why,
and it's
the
like,
way he is.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
he's got a lot of like pent up issues, and like he's damaged.
Yes, he's very damaged goods,
and he covers it by being sarcastic and joking around, and he makes some pretty
I'm
crazy
just thinking
jokes.
of lines from it, and
I know.
There's one more thing I need, and if you haven't seen that meme already, it's going around on Facebook with everything.
Yeah.
Like there's one of those hero texts where Captain America's talking to the Winter Soldier saying that Rocket needs something from him. Just I won't spoil it for the movie because it's really good, but it's
so hard to review this movie without spoiling it.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many awesome plot points.
We're really trying our best, people.
There are okay, here's something. You get to see the Collector. That's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
He was in the end of...
Which we can move into him and kind of move into the villain characters, too.
Yeah, he was at the end of... Thor
2.
Thor 2, right. And he buys or gets the... What do they call it? The Ether?
The Ether, one of the Infinity Gems.
One of the Infinity Gems, which is probably inside of it or something. Yeah. And so you get to see him, and in his little trophy room of collections, you get to see a couple things that if you're a huge comic book nerd, you'll know exactly what they are.
If you've been listening about the cameo we're most excited for, you'll kind of know it when you see it.
Yep.
But he collects things from all over the world, and he's
All
kind
over
of
the
there,
universe.
all over the universe. Sorry, excuse me. He's kind of there to reveal not only details about the Guardians' like major plot point,
But of the
also,
Infinity
like,
Stones.
Yeah, the Infinity Stones, and why these things are so popular and so
Why
sought
everyone is after them.
Yeah. So I liked Benicio del Toro. I think he's a great, just kind of that crazy collector guy, which, at the end of Thor 2, you thought, because he was all like, 2 to go or something like that, you're like, oh, he's going to be the big bad in the story. No, not really.
No.
He's kind of the ego, or the egocentric guy.
He's a businessman first, but he's kind of shady.
Yeah.
He does some shady stuff, but you know what?
Definitely shady.
Out in the universe, in the Marvel Comics, the stuff that we would find immoral here doesn't really matter out there.
Yeah, like
out in the big picture of things.
They're all kind of,
They do all kinds of crazy stuff
ridiculous.
that here on Earth we'd go, oh, that's horrible. But out in the universe, it's like happens all the time. It's no big deal. It's all part of their culture type of deal.
Let's go ahead and talk about really quick. I want to talk about the other neutral faction in this movie, in the form of the Nova Corps.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I wouldn't say they're super neutral.
Yeah, I mean, but they're like the empire that is being attacked, which is a huge change from the comics, by the way. They're not just a corporation of space police like the Green Lanterns would be for the DC universe, but they're actually a race of people.
But no, hold on, I'm going to correct you on that because
Really?
they're not. Their home base is on Xandar.
Yeah.
Okay. A good portion of the Nova Corps are Xandarians. However,
Which
if
are
you notice,
humanoid.
yes,
Or,
if you
like,
notice
very
in the
close to
background,
humans.
there were 1 or 2 non-Xandarian Novas.
Novas?
Yes,
Okay,
they were
all right.
full alien. I mean,
All right.
so
Because Xandarians take on like 3 different looks in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like they take on a regular human look, which is probably just to keep costs down, and they take on like a pink-skinned look, and then there's one other look to them that's kind of like this more model.
I don't think that the pink skins are actually Xandarians. I think they're.
I think they are.
I don't think they are. I think they are just another race, but there's just so many of them. They're all over the place.
Well, you know what? I think then maybe the Xandarian Empire is a group of planets.
Sure.
And
Okay.
they're all considered
Yeah, and
Xandarians. now.
Xandar's like the main planet,
like
the capital planet.
But I thought the Novas worked really well. John C.
Yeah.
Reilly, surprisingly fun in that.
I thought he was just going to be super goofy and be like,
which,
oh
he
man,
kind of was, but he's like,
but in a good way.
yeah, he's
Goofy in a
the
good way.
kind of like the cop that doesn't take things too seriously, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which he kind of turned out like I kind of predicted that he was going to be the one that they talked to get the Nova Corps on their side or whatever, you know, and they kind of did. Like,
Yeah.
in the end, so
That was good.
I thought the Nova helmets looked pretty good.
They look fairly close to the comic book ones. The gripe that we found, one of the downsides, I guess.
They didn't have their superpowers.
They didn't. Yeah, the Nova helmets grant them powers. They have like a shield that
super
absorbs
speed.
stuff. They can fly through space on just under their own power.
Yeah.
They can shoot Nova blasts out of from their hands and stuff. And I mean, maybe they still do. They just didn't show it. But in Guardians of the Galaxy, they show them flying ships and stuff.
Yeah, not too much of a strain.
No, not really.
But, I mean, you pointed out to me, I was like, when I was griping about how they fly ships, you said, well, you have 2 legs. Are you going to walk everywhere, or do you want to use your car?
Yeah.
It's like, if you have the power to fly, do you still want to fly everywhere, or do you want to use a ship to help protect you,
And that's so it's more of like just a minor gripe, which they may reveal later if we see a Nova movie, which is would be awesome.
Yes, I would love to see it. All right, let's talk about villains. Starting, I think, with the weak link in the villain side. Again, I'm sorry, but the female character of Nebula was kind of
Weird.
yeah, didn't really do anything for me. Again,
So
it's kind of
backstory of both those. And this is not spoiler other than this is in the comics. Nebula and Gamora are, they call them daughters of Thanos, and they're not actual daughters of Thanos. And if you remember at the end of Avengers,
Yep.
he's the
He's the guy who
purple
smiles.
purple smiling guy, not purple smiling green guy, purple smiling guy in the big throne. The daughters of Thanos are basically orphans, or he captured them from their families after killing their families.
Yeah.
And brainwashed them,
Modified them,
genetically enhanced them, used
yeah,
cybernetics.
I think Gamora's genetically enhanced and Nebula's cybernetically enhanced.
Yeah. So Nebula's got like a robotic arm.
And daddy issues.
And very big daddy issues.
Oh, yeah.
And they call each other sister, but it's more of like a
cult kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a Mormon kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. Wait, so
don't get into that.
They're all
Don't
daughters
get
of
into
Thanos. But yeah, she was kind of weak linky.
Yeah.
And weird. The best part is when she got shot in the face with a rocket.
Yep.
Sorry, but that was true. It was the best part of her performance.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that part. Oh, I need to see this movie again. It's so good.
Yeah, we need to go again. It's awesome.
The other villain that we'll get into is Ronan.
Yes.
Played by Lee Pace, who some of you will know him as the Pie Maker from Pushing Daisies, or some of you will know him as the Elf King of Mirkwood in the Hobbit movies.
The one that has the weird face when he gets angry.
Yeah, he's like got
He's got burned and stuff.
Yeah. Totally creepy, totally cult. Like he's got like a Charles Manson cultist vibe.
He is a Kree. That's his race. Kree fanatic, where he sticks to the old ways. The rest of the Kree race has signed a treaty
with Xandar
and whoever else, and he thinks that that's wrong. That's against the old ways. They need to be purified. They're not pure Kree warriors.
Yeah, and so he's actually got this terrorist cell where he's going after Xandar, and he's trying to get an item, the Infinity Gem.
Yeah,
and everything.
And so in the comics, they call him the Accuser.
Which they call him kind of the Accuser in this too. And
basically
he talks about accusing people and things like that.
He's accusing them of being unclean or like not pure or whatever.
He's generally what you want in a villain. And to be honest, there were times where I was like, holy crap, they did that and they haven't killed him yet. Yeah, how are they going to do this? How are they going to finish him off?
Yeah, there were many times where it's like, what are they going to do to stop him? Because nothing seemingly could stand up to him.
And you know what's funny? They actually revealed the plot point earlier in the movie with the Collector that I didn't realize was going to come into play. Like usually I can pick out like, oh, here's Q talking about how the watch can be a laser. That's going to come into play later in the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
But they did that early on in the movie, and then later in the movie when they're actually like doing that, I'm like, oh, holy crap, that's what they talked about earlier. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
So they surprised me in that regard.
He was a good villain. Had a lot of good screen time. Did some cool stuff. I mean, he beats the crap out of Drax.
Yeah, twice.
No, no problem for him. Pretty much beats the crap out of everyone.
And not to mention, he's got a weapon that is probably one of the most scary weapons I've ever seen in a sci-fi movie, where you literally touch it to a planet and the planet's gone.
Yeah,
or the planet gets destroyed.
It destroys
and purified
everything on it.
And it's like that is incredibly like terrifying.
Yeah.
Another character that I actually did like in this movie was Michael Rooker's character of Yondu.
Yondu.
Yep, with his whistling, I won't spoil that, but he whistles a lot in the movie, and it's really cool. Like, you guys love it.
Yeah, so Yondu is the, adoptive dad, guardian of Peter Quill.
And he's a thief.
Abducted him when Peter Quill was a boy.
Yep.
And raised him up and taught him the ways of, what did they call them? The Ravagers.
The Ravagers, yep, which is a Marvel group.
Yeah.
That's basically kind of like the Guardians, but more evil.
They're mercenaries, they're scavengers, they're just trying to find stuff, trying to make a lot of money type thing, look for the next big score type deal. Yeah. But yeah, I at first didn't really like him.
You were just kind of like,
when I first got him on the screen, I was like, oh, he's just a dumb filler bad guy, medium bad guy.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I was like, okay, I like him more and more. And Michael Rooker played Merle off of the Walking Dead TV show.
The guy who dies in season 1.
Yep. 1 or 2?
In season 1, he dies in the first 4 episodes.
But he comes back later.
I wasn't going to spoil that, but okay.
It's been out for 3 years.
Yeah, but
it's past the spoil limit.
That's a huge reveal.
It's been
for
spoiled
people,
over and
so,
over again.
You know, it's just he's a really good character in it. I think overall the cast, Glenn Close as Nova Prime,
That was great.
Was pretty good. I think pretty much everybody worked really well. All the cameos worked really well. I thought that out of everything, the only problem that I had was really with Nebula and Gamora.
Yeah,
Like, that's pretty much it.
you don't get to know a lot of their backstory, why they're doing what they're doing, really.
Might come up a little bit later. You might
hope
get
so.
to see a little bit more
Hope
from
so.
him, which, you know, Nebula technically doesn't die in the at the end. She jumps off of the
Yeah,
of
she
the
flies
ship
away.
and flies
Yep.
away, and well, she doesn't fly under her own power, but
No.
you know, we don't want to spoil it for you. Visual wise,
Oh, amazing.
simply amazing.
The CG was fantastic to the point where it didn't look CG. I'm pretty bad at that. For the most part, I can pick most CG out of a movie.
Yeah.
I've taken those, like, can you spot the CG tests online? And I can get them almost every time.
Yeah.
I can tell when it's computer generated because it's too perfect or it's whatever. They made this to the point where, like, all the spaceships, they look awesome. They look real.
They look really, like, not only real, but they look like 50s sci-fi ships.
Yeah.
You know, that kind
But
of
not
stuff.
in a bad
like-
way.
No, not in a bad way. Like a classic nostalgic way.
Yeah, they,
you know.
they have, like, marks on them because they've been shot out with lasers, and
better-
dents and dings.
Yeah,
And,
better analogy. They look like the original trilogy Star Wars ships.
yeah, they look like model ships.
Yeah,
but
they're
better.
CG.
Of course, you got all the energy effects and explosions and weapons and stuff that happens. Fantastic. Groot
Yeah.
and Rocket. I can't even really tell there's CG in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell because you know that they can't actually do that, but they
Groot
still
looks like a tree. I mean, he
everybody-
looks
yeah.
just like a walking
Everybody-
pile of bark.
everybody treats them like they're actually there, and it happens with the effects too. Like, you know, sometimes you're kind of like, oh, I can tell they're just acting about that lightning that's zapping them, but no, they really did a really great draw.
Maybe they really tased
Oh my
him.
gosh, I can't speak good. Get Drax in here; he can speak better than
No
me.
kidding.
Hi, I'm Scott. No, I'm Drax. All in all, I think 100% on this movie. I think I've been debating about this a lot. I don't think it's my favorite Marvel movie,
It's mine.
but it's really close. Like, it's super close. It's between that and Captain
the
America 2.
sprawling space shots, the ships flying through space, and there's not a lot of that. Keep in mind, there's only short little bits. You know, they jump between points. They have to travel really far, but they don't show the ship like just flying through space.
To be honest, there's action scenes in here, yes, but it's not just, oh, here's your 10th chase scene of the movie. No, there's a couple big action scenes, and then the big action scene at the end. But most of it's kind of like these characters interacting, which they interact perfectly. The writing on their interactions is amazing.
And the actors, they have a great rapport with
Yeah.
one another, and they just work together. Yeah, they fit exactly what I thought Guardians of the Galaxy should. After reading the comic books and seeing them in, like, the Avengers comics and all that in the TV show, better than in any other shows I've ever seen. I mean,
I will say one thing. There's a huge spoiler in it where a character dies. And it's a character that I'm like, and you know, you're kind of thinking the whole, oh, they're not really dead, they're going to come back kind of thing. But when you see these characters' reactions, you still get, like, emotionally charged by it.
yeah, you don't know
Like,
what's going
it's
on.
crazy. So, bottom line, 5 out of 5 geek cards for me. I cannot.
10 out of 5 for me. It's my favorite. It is my top pick of Marvel movies. It goes that, probably the Winter Soldier, actually, then Avengers, and so on and so forth.
I would say it's this really close race between Captain America 2, Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy for my top spot. They're all super amazing movies. But I think that's a glowing recommendation for both of us.
I want the Hulk and Groot to meet. Oh, 2 breakout stars. Let's have a Hulk Groot team up movie
where it's just a bunch of I am Groot, Hulk smash, I am Groot, Hulk smash.
Exactly, and they just beat the crap out of everyone.
Yes. It would be dumb fun, but that would be fun.
It would be
So,
great fun.
Go see it. There's no reason why you shouldn't. There's nothing else out, guys.
It's currently at 92% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think 96 on users.
Yep, I'll check it again just to be sure, but I think
it is as good or better in ratings than
Captain America,
which
I think was 90, 91.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was the highest
too.
Marvel movie.
Probably.
And I mean, just wow. There's so much we could talk about with it. We should do like a separate podcast where we sit there and spoil everything in the movie.
It would just be us talking,
going through
the whole movie step by step.
Yep, looks like it's still 92% of critics, and I think we're about 96% of users still.
Okay,
so there you go.
Yeah.
All right. I think we
way better than Lucy and Hercules.
Yeah,
way better.
Yeah, I will even say it's better than Hercules. And you guys, if you heard the last podcast, you know my recommendation. So we're gonna skip the topic this week.
Well, we just had a topic. It was all about the Guardians.
I mean, when I think that might be when one of these movies comes out, we might have to just review the movie.
They're pretty big, pretty important.
So we're gonna go ahead and get into our picks of the week.
Okay.
This week, and we're gonna start with my pick of the week because I have been playing a video game.
What? A video game?
Yes.
Surprise!
Yes. The Steam sale was a while ago, and they had all these games that I was like, "Ooh, I've been wanting to play that one. I've been wanting to." play
that one's only $3. That one's only $4. That one's $5.
Yes, and I ended up spending $80. And now it's my time to catch up on these games. You know, play through them, see how I like them.
Right.
The game that I've been playing lately is The Wolf Among Us, which is from Telltale Games, based on the comic book known as Fables, which is a comic book where these fantasy characters.
Is that the one from Xenoscope? Fables, or is that something else?
That's Grim Fairy Tales from Xenoscope.
Okay.
Fables is, I want to say Image, maybe DC. I don't know.
Okay. Anyways,
but these fantasy characters get exiled from the Fableland, and they have to live in New York. And there's some who can live normally, like Snow White and Beauty, but there's others who have to pay witches for this glamour that allows them to live among humans. So like people like Mr. Toad or the character you play.
I see what they did there. The Wolf Among Us.
Yes. The character you play is the big bad wolf, basically. His name is Bigby. His Bigby Wolf is his name. You know, kind of his regular name, but he's
right.
Yeah, but he's kind of the sheriff of this fable town in the middle of New York.
Keep track of them and stuff.
And you know, nobody knows they're there, but they like it that way and they want to keep it that way. So he kind of keeps everybody in line so that their glamour doesn't go off and everything like that.
Okay, makes sense so far. Sure.
So the story is kind of a pick your own adventure story for a video game, like those old books you used to have that say turn to page 31 if you choose this choice, where every choice you make in the book affects how the rest, or in the video game affects how the rest of the story plays out. So if you're rude to a character, they'll remember it, and later you may have a tougher time asking them questions, or where they remember it and they let somebody go and they shouldn't.
Okay, that's interesting. I like that. Yeah.
So they've done this with with the Walking Dead game that they came out with, Telltale Games, and there's points where you get into fights, and if you don't do things right, your person might get away. Or you're like, if you're chasing after, I did a chase scene.
Like what kinds of things? I mean,
like when you're running after them, they'll try and throw like a chair at you or something, and you have to hold A to dodge out of the way. This is on the computer, but you have to hold a button to dodge out of the way or duck or whatever. Or like you have to.
So it's not just a line by line story that you go through and just pick stuff. You do actually have some kind of interaction that may or may not require skill depending on the level you're playing at.
And if you have to gather evidence
too.
So if you don't find the right clues, you can't make correct assumptions and people don't believe you. But if you have like proper evidence, you can pull it out on them and say, hey, I've got this, I know you're lying, and then you can get better information out of it and things like that. So for example, you're running along and you have to move your mouse over and click on a rail that you have to jump to. And if you don't, you misstep and you land on the rail still, but they get farther away because of it.
Because you're trying to get your balance or something.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's all kind of this, it's kind of this movie that you're affecting by so you're watching this movie and then you make choices to affect how the character acts within the movie. And it's basically this big murder mystery story. I'm through the first out of 5 episodes.
Is it a game that you can pause and come back to, or do you have to complete a certain chunk? Otherwise, you got to start over.
I haven't tried to start over, but I'm assuming that you can yeah, I think it has auto saves throughout, so you can stop in the middle of an episode.
That's good.
And at the beginning of each episode, they have a recap of what happened in the last episode based on your choices. And at the end of each episode, they have a next time on The Wolf Among Us based on your choices too. So you get to kind of see what's going to happen a little bit, and you're kind of like, holy crap. It is rated M for mature. I've seen nudity in it. They go to a strip club at one point, that kind of thing, and there's swearing in it and everything, and there's violence. Like, these fables can take a beating. Like, the woodsman gets his own axe in his head and then starts crawling away from it and trying to pick himself up, because fables can take a lot of damage.
Apparently they can.
So that's
Sounds
my pick of the
good.
week.
Sounds good. I might have to pick it up.
Yep, I'll show it to you, and you'll get excited for it. And that'll be one more thing that I've addicted you to through this podcast.
So that's your pick of the week, The Wolf Among Us. If you guys want to check it out, I'm sure it's still on Steam. It's probably only like, what, $15, something like that?
Yeah, I think you're about 20, because I know you can get it on PlayStation you can buy like their pass for like $20 and get all the episodes. So I don't think it's going to be any more than that on the PC. I would recommend it on the PC because, first of all, I love PC games, but there's points in it where you have to like mouse over something and click it, and I'm not really sure how that would work with a cursor. Like, that sounds like hard to do with a cursor when you've got two characters that are
on a
shifting around.
On a PlayStation thing.
Or, yeah, like controller. Thank you. Why did I say cursor?
I don't know.
Anyway, going on.
Okay, so good pick of the week.
Yeah,
good pick.
Yeah.
My pick of the week is geek t-shirts.
Yay!
Not just geek
that's
t-shirts.
Really generic.
It is very generic. If you know me at all, I have many geek shirts.
It's almost really kind of creepy how many geek shirts you have.
I think right now I'm probably sitting at, if we include the ones that were from my skinnier days that I can no longer fit into at the moment, if we include those, I'm probably at like 150 shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, I could wear a new one every day for a good portion of the year, a couple months, and then before I have to even start over at the beginning. And I'm getting more all the time. I've got Nerd Block that comes in, that I get a t-shirt every month, that Loot Crate gets one every other month. And now, thanks to this website that I had just found...
You're welcome.
Thank you again. Something else I'm addicted to. I now get more... I'm going to get more geek shirts than I know what to do with.
Yeah.
Well, I know what to do with them. You wear them, of course. Yeah. But...
I don't do it. Do I eat them?
You want to split that shirt? But the website is called Ripped Apparel. It's RIPT apparel.com.
I've seen this, and I'm not as impulsive with geek shirts as you are.
I love geek shirts.
It's geek shirts and dice with you like all day.
I know. I don't know why I have to collect them all. But what they do is every day they have a big team artists, and I think they even do like guest artists and stuff.
Yeah.
That design these t-shirts. And not only shirts, you can buy shirts, hoodies, coasters. You can buy all these designs on coasters, like, cases for your phone. Oh, geez. Posters, all kinds of different stuff.
You can do posters?
Yeah. And every day they have a new set of shirts, 2 or 3 shirts, and they're always geeky. Most of the time, and I think this is their whole thing, is they're mostly mashups.
Yeah.
They take one character from one genre and mix it with one from either the same genre or another genre. For example, the very first shirt I saw from there was last Thursday, right after our podcast.
Actually,
is Bender from Futurama, but he looks like Iron Man. Yeah. He's got the golden red, and he's got the arc reactor in the middle of his chest. And I was like, that is super cool. There's another one that was Samus as Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. I like that one a whole lot. I thought that if there was one that I was going to buy, it would have been that one, because it's not just Samus as Iron Man, but it's her standing in like a row of her different Samus suits in the background, like Iron Man would.
And so every day they have a new set of shirts. It's usually 2 or 3, and they're all different designs.
So you only have 24 hours to buy your shirt?
You have 24 hours. Ooh. They go out midnight Central Time.
That's a way to impulse buy right there.
Yeah, pretty much. Because if you don't get them, they're retired and they're done. And so far, they've got like 40 pages of retired shirts. And I went back to the very first couple pages, and I didn't see any on there from where we were. So I don't know if they ever bring them back. Yeah. They may.
Were there any that you went, oh, I wish I would have bought that one. Oh, I wish I would have bought that one.
Dozens of them that I like them. If you like them on Facebook, I think on occasion, if they get enough likes, they'll bring them back like as a special edition.
Yeah.
So what they do is you buy the shirt, they print it there that day or that week or whatever.
So what are you looking at for a shirt? Like $25?
No, it's like $10.
Really?
$10
That's it?
for an extra large, and of course it goes up if you go bigger, and I think it stays the same if you go a little smaller.
Shipping and handling?
$2.
$2?
$2 and
So you're paying
$50.
$12. Well, no wonder you're buying so many of them. I mean,
They're not that bad price-wise.
That's not bad price-wise at all.
But I have spent about $100 already.
Oh my God.
Since last
For
Thursday.
a week, Scott.
For a week. I know.
That's not even $10 a day.
The second one I bought, speaking of mashups, the second one I bought was the Rosie the Riveter from like the 1950s or 1940s.
The We Can Do It lady.
We Can Do It. Yep. She's got, the one's got the bandana. Well, it was Ripley from Aliens.
No way.
With the Nostromo patch, that's the name of their ship, on her shoulder, and she's in the same pose, and it says "We Can Kill It."
Oh, nice.
Based on Aliens.
Yes.
A couple days later, they had
Guardians
t-shirts.
of the Galaxy, Star Wars mashups,
Yep, they
right?
had Star Wars, Guardians of the
gosh.
Galaxy mashups. Didn't pick up one of those. None of those really piqued my interest too much. They had ones where it was like they are like school team shirts, but it's like it'd be like North High running team, establish this and this, and then it'd have their motto. Well, it was the Flash, his logo as him as the logo, and it
Central
would say, Central City cross country team established. The date that Flash first appeared.
I know you're a huge sucker for those type of shirts.
Oh, I love them.
Oh man,
anything that's like that. Garage shirts, like if it's like Dave's Parts, established 2004.
Tourism shirts.
Yeah, tourism shirts like I Heart Gotham City or something.
Visit Cloud City Bespin.
I bought one the other day that was Gallifrey, Shining World of the Time Lords, and it's like got a picture of buildings, and it's got the TARDIS flying behind it, and they're kind of faded out, faded shirts, and I can't get enough of it right now.
I might have to take your phone away. You're gonna spend too much.
Yep. Give me your wallet.
Come on.
Give me your wallet.
Don't
buy any. But that is my pick of the week.
That's a good pick of the week.
Ripped Apparel, RIPT.com. And go check them out. Even if you like to laugh, or if you want posters, they got posters too.
That poster idea really intrigues me because I'm a huge poster guy. I mean, I don't have enough room for all the posters I have already. But
I know. If I bought all the posters I wanted, my whole house would be covered in them. I wouldn't need paint.
It would be wallpaper.
It would just be wallpaper. I just wallpaper a bunch of posters. But I bought a bunch of T-shirts. I got to just talk my work into letting me wear them all the time. So collared shirts.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just wear them underneath secretly, just so I can feel good about myself.
Yeah, like at lunch, you take off your collared shirt and you're just like,
I'm at lunch. Can't you see?
Yeah.
Dress casually. I'm at
there
lunch.
You go. There you go. That's how you tell people you're at
None
lunch.
of them, and they're not offensive. I haven't found any that were offensive or anything.
They keep them very clean and very family friendly. So,
but great, and a lot of subtlety too. There's a couple that you see the mashup and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you see the subtlety behind it, or behind a joke inside that mashup, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, awesome!" The Guardians of the Galaxy Star Wars one, you've got Chewbacca as Groot. Basically, he's Groot.
Yes.
They're all in the lineup, like in the trailer.
R2D2 is
R2D2
Rocket,
is Rocket. You've got Leia as Gamora, and they're all in the same poses. You've got Han Solo as Drax.
Yeah.
And you've got Luke Skywalker as Star-Lord, and he's got his finger up, but it's censored, like in the trailer.
Surprise, surprise! In the movie, they didn't censor that. Like
they did not.
I thought they would censor it. I was like, oh,
which it was pretty funny.
So there's pick of the week.
That's my pick.
Scott, usually we would end the episode here or do challenges, which we don't have challenges for each other, but we have some user questions.
We do.
Yeah, we actually got some feedback for it. So the first...
So we posed a question out there, and, it was Brothers Geek are excited to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. What other stuff should we discuss? And we got a couple different questions. I want to do Hannah's first. This is from Hannah. It's
Hi, Hannah.
Good friend of mine. Hi, Hannah, if you're listening still.
All of your friends, and to all of my friends listening, Scott's friends are showing you up. guys.
Boom!
We've gotten like 3 replies from his friends and nothing from mine.
3. You hear that? 3 replies.
So,
0 from yours.
Please give me questions so that I can show him up.
Even if it's a text message, even if you want to text us about something you want to hear about, we can track.
We're not going to give out our numbers though, so don't.
No, if you're friends of ours, you should have them.
Yeah.
And if you don't have them, you're not friends of ours.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
you're all friends of mine.
We love everyone.
Yeah.
If you're a geek, we love you.
Yep.
Unless you stink, then you need a shower,
yeah,
and then we'll love you. Hannah asks, or she said, I want you to talk about basically the utter destruction of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I know she asked this because here's the backstory. She bought the 3 set of the classic or more classic ones.
yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, and whatever the third one is, which I can't even remember.
Turtles in Time or something like that.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, they go back to the samurai days.
The first one I loved. I thought it was
I
great.
like the second one too.
Second one's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's the one with the turtle rap in it.
that is Vanilla Ice, Go Ninja, Go Ninja,
go.
over and over again.
Oh, man.
That's the whole song. You know, he needed something new other than
Yeah.
Ice Ice Baby, and that's all he can do. But I think she might be talking about how they're kind of ruining Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie coming out this week, which we're going to go see.
Yep, we haven't seen it yet.
But we're already disappointed.
Yeah, we've seen the reviews.
And don't get us wrong, we don't always base everything off reviews.
But when it's 17% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Not looking good.
it worries us. Completely worries us.
We're gonna go see it. We're gonna go take that bullet for you guys.
Yeah,
We will
so
go
wait
spend
a
the
week.
money. Wait a week. We will tell you whether or not you should see it.
Yeah.
Chances are the answer will be no.
Yeah, I'm really I'm excited for this movie. I think it looks like an interesting movie, but I'm not hopeful at all. I mean, Michael Bay is attached to it. Even though he's just producing, he's still attached to it, and everything he touches kind of turns to crap.
Yep. It doesn't turn to gold.
He is crap Midas.
Yep. He is Midas's little brother.
Critus.
Poofist.
Poofist.
Poo finger, poo hand. What do you want to call it? Because everything he touches.
Pootis.
No, sounds terrible. But everything he touches just falls apart. Look at Battleship, ruined it.
Oh my gosh.
Transformers ruined them.
Honestly, I didn't really expect anything out of a movie made out of a game like Battleship, but
It's fun to make fun of. That's it.
yeah, exactly.
I'm glad I didn't go see it in the theaters. I'm glad I watched it. I spent $1 at Redbox and rented it.
Yeah.
I didn't even do that actually. I had a friend bring it over and he wanted to watch it, and
Well, that's
we
good.
got done and we both looked at each other and went, "That was horrible."
Awful.
Oh, so awful. But yes,
So-
Hannah, we will go take that bullet for you. Have fun watching the originals.
They were fun.
They're fun. I watched the
just-
honest trailer version
I
of
haven't seen that one
Teenage
yet.
Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze, and it's pretty hilarious.
But to kind of go into your question further, Hannah, you might be talking about the turtles being changed look wise, and if you really want to go back into like the original comics, they were changed from the original comics into the kid-friendly, pizza-loving turtles that you see today. In the original comics, they are murder, like they're not
They're
murderers,
ninjas.
but they're killers.
They use their weapons, and there's
Yeah.
blood and gore and everything in those comic
and
books.
then they added the rest later. And there's actually an episode in one of the latest Ninja Turtle TV shows that has all of the Ninja Turtles from all the different eras come together in this weird
a time thing?
Yeah, and so you get to see the late 80s, early 90s cartoon that is my personal favorite. You get to see all these different cartoons and the original version too, and they're like super serious compared to all the rest.
Yeah. So
So-
there you go, Hannah. Hopefully that answers your question. Let us know later.
Yeah.
The next question is from another one of my friends. Go my friends.
Come on, seriously, people.
Hey, you want Dawn of Justice? You give me this battle,
Yeah.
all right? Give me this win. She says, is from Rebecca. She says, Marvel has proved that they can pull off Groot and Rocket. What about other obscure characters? Could Guardians be an important stepping stone on the road to, say, a Deadpool movie that we were all screaming for? What other characters would you guys be curious or nervous about to be put on the big screen?
Okay, that's a really good question.
We've been thinking about this a little bit since
All day.
Yeah, all day.
First of all, I'd like to address the Deadpool thing. I think Deadpool's problem is a little bit more than just being an obscure character.
Because he is at the height of popularity right now.
He's a really popular character for not only among geeks, but among people who aren't necessarily geeky. People see his symbol and they know what it is. His problem is that he is R-rated.
He's very R-rated, and that's a hard sell in Hollywood. I mean, Marvel's doing great because they're keeping everything PG-13, but trying to do an R-rated movie it's hard because they usually don't make that much money.
Look at Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2. Those are like the only R-rated superhero movies out there, except for Sin City. And that's not even a superhero movie. That's more of just a comic movie.
And I don't think that made as much money as, say, PG-13, because you can't take your kids to it.
Nope.
So, you got to find R-rated movies are hard because parents have to find babysitters for their kids.
However, I will say that I think the demand is there for a Deadpool movie.
I agree. I believe there are enough geeks out there that are willing to flock and support it. That as long as it's good, I guess that's the caveat. It's got to be good. If it's not good, then it won't do well. So Deadpool's maybe not too obscure for me personally. I think maybe the rest of the world might have to know who's Deadpool. I'm not 100% sure.
I would say that it is a movie to be nervous about, though.
Because of the rating.
Because you're not sure how far they're going to play into the rating and everything. If it's anything like the test footage, I don't have a problem with it.
There's already a couple, we talked about them just earlier in this episode, a couple other obscure characters or teams that I would be worried about making a movie. They're already going to do it.
Yeah.
The Metal Men.
Jeez.
Like we said, super obscure. If you don't know comics, you don't know the Metal Men.
For those of you who don't know the Metal Men,
yeah,
they're a group of robots created by a professor. I can't remember his name, Dr. not Tio Morrow, but Dr. Maxim something or other. But they're all these robot brains inside these different metal shells.
Liquid metal shells.
Okay.
Well, actually, wait. The originals weren't liquid. They were actual metal, I think, weren't they?
Yeah, but there's certain ones like there's iron and lead and mercury. Platinum is the female in there, and gold.
And I think that's
there's one other
copper,
tin or something like that.
I think
where he's like the weakest one, but he's like the most moldable.
Yeah,
or something like that.
That's a movie that I'd be nervous about.
Yeah,
I love the Metal Men. I love reading them in the comics. I love reading about them.
I'm a fan
in
of
TV shows
kind of
is awesome.
Being a superhero team myself.
Yeah,
so.
But putting it in a movie and trying to sell it to people, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to work.
Suicide Squad's kind of the same way.
Yeah, they're going to be probably a little less obscure due to Arrow.
Thank you, Arrow.
Yep, thank you, Arrow, for introducing Suicide Squad, especially if you can get Harley Quinn in it.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get Harley Quinn, it'll be great.
You get her in there, and then you've got your star character right there.
Yeah.
Going over to Marvel, I think some teams that are really obscure, and we'll start with teams specifically because we know that they can work. Alpha Flight.
Yeah, the Canadian superheroes.
Yeah. Like right there, you're just like, super obscure. Really? Canadian superhero?
Okay, yeah.
I would say that another one kind of coming out is Big Hero 6, though they're going a completely different direction with that one.
But it still is Marvel property.
There's another group of heroes that I think would be really funny for like a comedy group, is the Great Lakes Avengers, which include people like Doorman, who could basically make himself into a door that people can walk through from one thing to the other. Like he can open up any portal, so they can go through any wall with him.
Okay.
There's a guy called Mr. Immortal who just can't die. Squirrel Girl is a huge member of the Great Lakes Avengers who basically has like squirrel powers. I'm sorry, but to be honest, guys,
one of the most popular online.
Yeah, she's taken down Doctor Doom and I think Thanos in her time. So Squirrel Girl's kind of powerful. There's Flat Man, who's kind of like a Mr. Fantastic, but he's 2D. Okay. And then there's I think her name is Big Bertha.
I think this will definitely be a comedy.
Big Bertha's a supermodel until she activates her power, and then she becomes this giant lady like female blob basically.
Yeah. So there's one. Another one that I thinking from the Marvel would be Heroes for Hire.
Oh yeah.
which has got
We're kind of going to see that with the Netflix.
kind of going to see it with
series.
Netflix, but you've got like Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
The new heroes for hire would be cool too, with Misty Knight and Colleen Wing
Yeah.
and Paladin. I mean, characters who are literally mercenaries for mercenaries' sake.
What other teams are there? There's lots of different teams.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of different teams out there.
New
that
Warriors.
are obscure. Yeah,
New Warriors
would
from
be
Marvel.
really Speedball and what's his name, Paragon or something like
Yeah.
that.
A
I
couple
would
others
say,
that I can't remember.
I would say moving over into single heroes, you've got things like Moon Knight is really obscure.
Yep.
For
But-
Marvel,
but
he's
would
kind
be,
of.
I think Moon Knight would be fun.
I think he'd have a hard time doing a Moon Knight movie and separating him from Batman, because
He is kind of the Batman.
he's kind of the Batman of the Marvel universe.
true.
Just really obscure and powered by the moon. By the way, like the moon god,
Oh, I was gonna say powered by light from the moon, because wouldn't that be just
a
sunlight?
werewolf.
That'd just be sunlight.
Yeah, no. The sunlight's too intense. It has to be.
Here's a
dulled down moonlight.
duo that are pretty much always together. Cloak and Dagger.
Ooh, that would be a good movie.
Yeah, I think that
kind
would
of
be way
your
fun.
kind of your street level heroes movie. The Inhumans, I think, are another obscure.
They're probably going to be less obscure. They're probably going to be coming out in Agents of Shield, the TV show.
Yeah,
pretty sure they
I
will.
think that'd be a good place to introduce
Yeah.
them. Let's go ahead and talk about it really quick. They're already coming out with a really obscure hero movie next summer, Ant-Man.
Yes,
Who knows who Ant-Man is before Marvel gets to him?
I do.
Okay,
I
who
know who it is.
outside the geek community?
Outside the Brothers
it's
Geek?
the same. Yeah, it's the same thing as Guardians, but for a single character. I think that's the real test to see if these things can be viable and not.
Even
a
Guardians.
group movie.
Even Guardians was kind of obscure, and it's proven that it can do.
That's why we were
fantastic.
starting this whole
Yeah.
conversation. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think going even further back, does anybody remember? Would anybody know 10 years ago who Iron Man is?
No. 10 years ago, when did it come out? 2006.
2008.
Right? 2008. Before 2008.
The year I got together with my wife. That was the second movie we ever saw.
Cool.
So-
That was a good starting movie.
Yeah.
I like it. It
Well,
was a great
the
movie.
starting movie was Prom Night, like a horror movie. But no, that was, I mean, what do you take a girl to on the first date? A horror movie. Come on, Scott. This is why
maybe-
you're single.
because I don't really like horror movies.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
That's the whole reason.
I mean, but yeah, this is kind of a character who you're like, Iron who? Who man? Who?
yeah, there was a short run 2-season cartoon
Yeah.
of Iron Man. Didn't do well. They canceled it. It was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even looking back on it after I know everything about Iron Man now.
You know who they had to bring in to help kick off the Marvel universe after Iron Man? The Hulk. Like one of the only popular Marvel heroes that wasn't taken by the other companies.
Yeah.
Because they took Spider-Man away, they took the X-Men away, they took Fantastic Four away, and you're left with C-list heroes in Captain America, C-list. Iron Man, C-list. Thor, C-list. Characters that you would never thought you would see in a movie. Thor. Think about that. When in 2008, if I would have come up to you and said, hey, they're going to do a Thor movie, you would have been like, you're crazy. They can't do a Thor movie. He's not. And we talked about I remember us talking about this with our cousin at Grandma's house on Sundays, where we'd
Yeah.
be like, they can't do a Thor movie. They can't throw science in there.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is an obscure hero.
And he's there. They got a movie coming out there. Black Panther.
Oh my gosh, Black Panther is totally an obscure hero.
Yeah.
He's the other Batman of the Marvel universe.
Yeah. He's probably more Batman than Moon Knight. I'm just looking over at my figurines, just trying to think of like any single characters. I mean, we can reboot Punisher.
Yeah.
Punisher would be
That would be an interesting one.
sort
to
of
redo.
obscure, reboot deal.
If you want to do like a Firestorm movie, a Dead Man movie going into DC here, Plastic Man, freaking the Atom, doing a movie about the Atom. Well, I mean, you can't really. Warner Brothers shouldn't do that because then they'll just be copying Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But Hawkman, I think a Hawkman movie would be really interesting
A
to see.
Hawkeye movie. He's not obscure now.
Yeah.
But even then, that would be a risky movie because it would just be another Jason Bourne with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's kind of what it would feel like.
Male
to me.
Katniss.
Yeah, and Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman,
Spider-Woman. There's an interesting one that I didn't think of.
a Venom movie that's been rumored.
Yeah, they're thinking about doing that one. I mean, Venom's a little bit more popular. He's in the Spider-Man universe, And everybody, I mean, you hold up a picture of Doc Ock and another villain from an obscure, like the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Well, not now, but like, again, before these movies came out, you hold up Doc Ock and Mandarin, more people are going to go, yeah, that one's Dr. Octopus. I don't know who the Chinese guy with the rings are.
Yeah, he's a ring man.
Yeah. Is he Green Lantern?
Is he part of
Actually,
the Olympics?
no, people wouldn't even say Green Lantern. How about an obscure character, not more obscure, but a character who needs to have a movie? Aquaman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like a character
that'll be
who
hard
definitely
sell.
needs the movie treatment because he's a joke. Right now, he is a joke, and people need to get off their butts and realize that Aquaman's a cool character.
He is not a joke, and I can go on for a long time about why he's not a joke.
We can talk about that in another podcast.
There are many jokes.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There are many jokes about him that, people hate him.
Yeah.
They don't really hate him, but they just think he's goofy and stupid, and they don't realize that he's nearly as strong as Superman or as Wonder Woman, almost as invulnerable as Wonder Woman, can breathe underwater, has low grade telepathy to control not just fish but other animals and not very high-willed people too.
Yeah.
I mean, he can make them do things.
He got huge powers of persuasion.
Yeah, and super speed in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, you can literally swim around the world nearly as fast as Superman can fly around the world type of thing,
It's like a race between him and the Flash, and they start at the Atlantic. He can swim. He can keep up with the Flash until they hit the end of the Atlantic.
He just goes really fast and leaps over one of the continents.
And then in like the middle of it, a Russian child holds up his hand to touch his stomach as he passes over. Free Aquaman.
Free Aquaman. Another one that I would love to see, but I have a feeling that it would fail miserably. Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
It would be a great
Can't call him
one.
Martian Manhunter because that's
Stupid. Okay, thank you, David Goyer. Thank you very much. But yeah, that one would be one that I would love to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm afraid it would fail. I'm afraid it would probably flounder and not make very much money.
There was a person who called into work today whose name was John Jones.
Really?
And they were asking, and I was like, the Martian Manhunter? Really?
And everyone was looking at you like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so you want to talk about obscure? There you go. Well, that's it. 2 questions asked, 2 questions answered. The Brothers Geek deliver, people. So
Yes.
if you have a question or would like to suggest a topic idea or a challenge, you can send us an email at actsofgeekery@gmail.com.
Or you can hit us up on Twitter at Acts of Geekery.
Or you can go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/actsofgeekery.
We also have a YouTube channel.
You can leave a comment there.
Yeah, you could go to youtube.com/Acts of Geekery, and all those are ACTS, not AXE. You have to throw that in there every
Yes,
time.
Absolutely. That's a good episode. I think we did another solid. Oh gosh, never mind. That sounded bad.
Yeah, we did another
We did
solid.
another solid, guys.
You didn't hear it because our microphones were turned down a little bit.
Yeah, we don't do this.
Wait,
podcast
what did
on the
Poofus? Did he come in? Is that Michael Bay's little brother?
Ah, no, it's Midas'
Oh, it's
little
Michael
brothers.
Yeah, Midas' little brother, Michael Bay.
Yeah, Michael Bay.
Poofus turns everything to crap.
Well, I'm Cory,
And I'm Scott.
and this has been Acts of Geekery.
Keep geeking out.
See ya.